Ferrari president John Elkann has heavily criticized his F1 team's drivers, Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, for underperforming during the current season. Elkann has urged both drivers to focus on driving and talk less, in a rather surprising twist. This weekend, Ferrari scored 6 points in the sprint but suffered a double DNF in the Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc was hit by Kimi Antonelli after the Italian collided with Oscar Piastri, while Lewis Hamilton had collisions with both Carlos Sainz and Franco Colapinto, resulting in big damage before retiring the car. This, combined with Mercedes having their best weekend of the year and Red Bull getting another podium, sees Ferrari drop to 4th in the constructor standings. Reacting to this, Elkann blamed the drivers for the team's lack of performance. Quote, "If we look at the Formula 1 championship, we can say that on one hand we have our mechanics who are basically winning the championship with their performance and everything that has been done on the pit stops. If we look at our engineers, there's no doubt that the car has improved. If we look at the rest, it is not up to par. And surely we have drivers for whom it is important that they focus on driving and talk less, because we still have important races ahead of us and getting second place is not impossible." Both Leclerc and Hamilton have since responded on their respective social media platforms, with both drivers preaching that unity is the way forward for Ferrari rather than fighting amongst themselves. Whose side are you on? Let us know in the comments. McLaren want answers from the FIA about whether or not Max Verstappen's power unit change in Sao Paulo will count towards the cost cap or not. After qualifying, Red Bull changed out Verstappen's entire power units, with the Dutchman ultimately finishing on the podium after a pit lane start. After Verstappen's first career Q1 elimination on pure pace, Red Bull decided to break Parc Fermé rules and make major changes. A new combustion engine, MGU-K, MGU-H, turbo, control electronics and battery were all put in, taking all of those parts over the yearly limit. McLaren now want to know whether this is going to count towards the cost cap, the Race.com reports, as this is an area that is not specifically covered in the FIA's regulations. McLaren believe that swapping an engine for reliability reasons should not be counted, but when it's done for performance, like in this case, it should, as Stella explains. Quote, "To be honest, these kind of power unit changes, they challenge the regulations. I will be interested in understanding if the cost of this engine now goes in the cost cap or not. If the engine was changed for performance reasons, it should go in the cost cap. So let's see if this is the case. Not that I will be able to see, as it's all on the Red Bull side. But this is also one reason why we wouldn't do it, because it would end up in the cost cap." End quote. Red Bull team principal Laurent Mekies has shed some light on why Max Verstappen was brought in for a third pit stop late in the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Verstappen was leading the race when Lando Norris stopped for mediums, but despite an 8-second lead with 20 laps to go, Red Bull stopped Verstappen again, as they explain a win simply wasn't on the cards. Red Bull calling Verstappen in surprised pundits all round, as the Dutchman's mediums were only 8 laps older than Norris's. Verstappen did not have to stop again, since he started the race on hards before pitting early because of a slow puncture that he'd suffered. On his second medium stint, he could have done almost half the race's distance on a set of mediums, but Red Bull thought the reigning champion would have hit a cliff late in the race, as Mekies explains. Quote, "No, we don't think it was winnable. The call was made, and I think it gave us a chance to have a very strong go at the podium. Ultimately, we got it. Maybe 1 lap more and you would have gotten P2. I don't think there was any way you would have kept P1 if you just look at the tire deg and where you were." End quote. Well, that's it for this news video. Tomorrow, we'll be back with this week's GP Fan Special, so keep an eye out for that when it drops. And follow us on all social media, by the way, to stay in the know about everything going on in F1. But thank you so much for watching, and peace.